So what we got up to yesterday was how, although it seemed that the function of Moshe Rabbeinu was relevant for souls from the lowest three worlds, which are missing das, which are missing the ability to feel godliness in a very real, vivid way, while this is true for most souls, the pasuk says, these are the laws which are placed before them for all the Jewish people, which means that even those souls which are from Atzilus, from the higher world, the highest world, they also need Moshe Rabbeinu for some reason. And the question is, what do they need Moshe Rabbeinu for? We understand why we need Moshe Rabbeinu. We need Moshe Rabbeinu for him to give us das, to him to give us a sense of iskashus, hakara v'argasha, to give us a connection and a recognition and a feeling for godliness. But souls of Atzilus, they already have that. They are in sync with their understanding. Their feeling is the same as their understanding. Why do they need Moshe Rabbeinu? Let's go to page. In the Dvar Malchus on page test. Is hey. Omnam loshon kasavet shpatar shasov neim lefneim stam mashmin ze koya klos Yisrael. The language of the Torah, these are the laws each will place before them. Doesn't say who before who. It sounds like that this verse is talking of not only about the souls which are from Zera Behema, not only the souls which are called animal-like, but also for all the Jewish people. I know lirak from Zera Behema, not only the souls which are called animal-like, but even those souls which are called man-like, which means they come from the world of Atzilus, and they have das and elokus, they have a feeling for godliness. At their very core of their reality is the truth of Hashem. That's their first reality. Even they need Moshe Rabbeinu. For those souls of Zera Behema, which do not have das, do not have this connection, so it's understood why they need Moshe Rabbeinu. But the neshamas of Zera Adam, which do have das, what is the meaning of Moshe Rabbeinu's role vis-a-vis those souls of Zera Adam? Why does the Torah say about Moshe Rabbeinu that he must put the laws before them, before all the Jews, including those souls from Atzilus? The answer is that in das itself there are two levels. There is the kind of connection you have with an idea after you thought of it. At first, you understand the idea and you develop it until it comes to your feelings, till you're able to connect with the idea. That after you understand it, then you're able to recognize it and feel it and connect to it. That your recognition of it, your clarity of it is in sync with your understanding. Not just you understood it, got a good mark on your test, but you yourself know this. That's one level of das. Your connection with something that you know, that you understood. But there is a level beyond logic. There is recognition of the essence, not something which is connected to logic at all. It's not something that you could know, and it's not something that you could even understand more about by the process of elimination. It's not something which you could have asagas achil, which means to positively know it, and it's not something to get closer to by negating other things. There are some things that we don't know, but we can get closer to by pointing out what those things aren't. So what we're discussing, however, in the second level of das is not something which is in the realm of understanding. Like we're discussing yesterday, if someone says they cannot touch an idea, so anyone who hears that will laugh at them because, of course, you can't touch an idea. Ideas and touching aren't the same realm. So similarly, when we're talking about the essence of godliness, understanding isn't even relevant. Not positive understanding, and not the process of elimination isn't relevant either. Not knowing what it isn't beneficial either, doesn't get you closer. It's totally beyond the realm of understanding. All that you can have at this level is a recognition. This is what is meant by this statement. The highest level of knowledge is not to know you. So on the surface, as we discussed yesterday, that sentence is saying you can't really know godliness. All you can know is what godliness isn't. The analogy Chassidim give is you see someone far away, and as you get closer, you start saying, "Oh, I know this isn't Yankel, this isn't Shmerel, this isn't Dr. Bressman," and they get very close. Say, I don't know who this is. So that's the highest level of knowledge. You realize that Hashem is beyond your logic. But the Rebbe says that there's a deeper meaning to the sentence. But before we go to the deeper meaning, I'll just tell you a word from Rebbe Rashab, which I think will help us understand this. I wish I had the quote in front of me. The Rebbe Rashab says something like this: when I sit by myself in my room and I learn Likutei Torah, Rebbe Rashab said that I feel God's essence. And not only did he say this about himself, but as we discussed yesterday, Shlomo Melech says, if I would know him, I would be him. The Rebbe Rashab said that every chassid knows him and is him through Hakaras Etzem B'Etzem. The essence of the Jew recognizes the essence of Hashem. It's not that we understand something. It's just like, I think in another place it gives an analogy of a child recognizing his father. That it's not that he understands something, doesn't know why he's his father, he just knows this is my tati. So in a similar way, Yid recognizes the Eibishter. Not that he has a logical appreciation for the truth of Hashem, he has a sensitivity for the truth of Hashem as it is in this world, as it is in Atzilus, but rather it's a recognition of the essence of the Jew in the essence of Hashem. So what does the sentence mean? The highest level of das is where you cannot know you. At that level where you cannot understand you, in that itself to know you, to know the part of you which is unknowable, to feel you as you are higher than logic. The highest level of das is in what is unknowable, which is ununderstandable, which cannot be understood. To have it in a head, to have a feeling the truth of Hashem, as Hashem is in his essence, as he is beyond logic. That's the highest level of das. Not just to have a das, not just to feel the truth of Hashem, as Hashem could be explained, as Hashem has contracted his light in a way that we can appreciate it. But the highest level of das is to feel the truth of Hashem as he is beyond logic, as he is in his essence. Zeb said to lower the volume over there. It's making up his family. Okay, got it. I'll try to quiet it down. Even these neshamas of Zera Adam, even the neshamas of Atzilus, they also need this. What do the neshamas of Atzilus have? Neshamas of Atzilus have a feeling of the truth of Hashem as Hashem's light is contracted in the world of Atzilus. They feel that. They feel that truth. And not just to understand, they feel it. But that's all they are able to appreciate, what has been contracted to their level. What's the world of Atzilus? The world of Atzilus is revelation of the truth of Hashem. Not the essence. That means Atzilus is in the realm of that which is concealed or revealed. Atzilus is a revelation of godliness. Therefore, they too need to have a Moshe Rabbeinu to give them a connection and a recognition of Hashem's essence. The highest level of that, which is in the realm which is unknowable, to feel that as well. And this also comes through Moshe Rabbeinu specifically, because it says of Moshe Rabbeinu that he was drawn from the water. As we learned yesterday, the Moshe Rabbeinu comes from a level beyond the neshamas of Atzilus. It says he is drawn from the water, and we learned that he's even higher than the water. Isn't it really? His name Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't mean drawn from the water specifically; just means to be drawn from, and that's because Moshe Rabbeinu's neshama has connection to the higher than the world of Atzilus, the world of Teilu, and higher. Therefore, Moshe Rabbeinu is able to give this recognition of God's essence, even those souls of Atzilus. Okay, there's a lot more of the Maamar to do, and I think I'm going to do the rest of it outside. Okay, so now that we've explained that Moshe Rabbeinu is able to impact the souls of Atzilus and give them this recognition of God's essence, this also gives us a deeper understanding of how Moshe Rabbeinu contributes to all souls, even those souls which are not from Atzilus. So, because what was the reason we said that Moshe Rabbeinu is able to give us Neanderthal, animal-like souls? Why is he able to give us something of das? How can he able to give us that das? We said the reason he's able to give this to us is because we come from across the river. We come from a place beyond the world of Atzilus. That's the origin of the neshamas. Since we come from across the river, so that's why Moshe Rabbeinu's function isn't to change us, but it's merely to reveal what we have inside. That's why the Torah uses the expression, when you buy an evidivri. Just like when you buy something is entering your domain, it's revealed to you, it's existed before, but to you now it's new. So to Moshe Rabbeinu is revealing something in us that we had before. And we also spoke about yesterday that the body also has its origins in the world of chaos, the world of Tayu, and therefore it is also able to receive this revelation. So the same applies also when talking about recognition of God's essence. When talking about Tachas HaYidi, when talking about the highest level of recognition of Hashem. The Moshe Rabbeinu gives this not only to Zera Adam Neshamis, but also Neshamis Zera Behema. Why is it possible for Moshe Rabbeinu to give this recognition to the souls of Zera Adam? What do they have? The answer is that it says in the Torah, all Yisrael Machshava, God, so to speak, thought about the Jewish people. They arose in God's thoughts. At the root of all the souls of Israel, including the souls of animal-like souls, is in the highest level of God's thoughts. And that's why it's possible for them to have a recognition of God's essence, the highest level of knowledge, not to know you, to that itself to know. And this is what Moshe Rabbeinu gives them. Because in Moshe Rabbeinu, there is revelation of God's essence. Like it says in the Torah, there are 6,000 people, Moshe Rabbeinu says, 600,000 rather, feet of the people, Moshe Rabbeinu says that I am in their midst. So Chassidus translates that verse that I am in their midst. On the surface, Moshe Rabbeinu is saying that I'm one of the 600,000 people. But Chassidus translates the word Anoichi B'kirboi, that God's essence is revealed inside Moshe Rabbeinu. Anoichi Misha Anoichi, I who am I who only I know who I am, the essence of God, that is revealed in Moshe Rabbeinu. And not only is it revealed in Moshe Rabbeinu, and Moshe Rabbeinu is able to transmit it to the Jewish people, but the truth is, the only reason that God gives this to Moshe Rabbeinu is because of the Jewish people. As it says in the Torah, there are 600,000 feet of the people that I'm in their midst, that it's because there are 600,000 people, because Moshe is the leader of the Jewish people, and the Jewish people, so to speak, impact Moshe Rabbeinu. That's why the Torah uses the words 600,000 feet of the people. Just like the feet bring the head to a place where the head can't get to by itself, so to the Jewish people contribute something to Moshe Rabbeinu himself. So there's a symbiotic relationship. But for the main point that we're saying is that the essence of a Jew is rooted in God's thoughts, including the souls of animal-like souls. We go to the source of the souls. All souls come from God's thoughts. And therefore, all souls intrinsically have a connection to God's essence. And therefore, what Moshe Rabbeinu is doing is not really to change them. Rather, it's to put them in touch with their essence, because Moshe Rabbeinu was in touch with his. In Moshe Rabbeinu, there's a revelation of God's essence. Therefore, he's able to give that revelation to all souls. So this then is the meaning of the verse. And these are the laws you shall place in front of them. The word in front of them also means inside them. Lifneihem, in front of them, also means l'pnimiyusam, to their inside. The Moshe Rabbeinu connects the inside, the deepest part of all neshamas, with the essence of Atzos Mosins of Ein Baruch Hu, the essence of Hashem. And that's why he's able to give us this feeling of this das, this sensitivity and caring and this closeness with Hashem, and not only this caring and this closeness with the way Hashem's light is revealed in this world, where Hashem contracts himself, but even to have recognition in God's essence, in the highest level of knowledge, where he is unknowable. That's the meaning of the words. And that's why the Torah says this about the Mishpatim specifically. Why the Mishpatim? On the surface, Mishpatim is the last thing you think about when we're talking about knowing the essence of Hashem. Mishpatim are those mitzvahs which are logical, mitzvahs that make sense. So the answer is that Moshe Rabbeinu is giving us the ability even when we're doing some things which are so natural and so logical, Moshe Rabbeinu gives us the ability to feel the truth of Hashem, the truth of Hashem's essence, even those simple day-to-day things that we do. So you are doing something which is logical to you. You are giving your mother a birthday cake. You are picking her. You're doing something which you're being honest. Honesty is it just makes sense, to be honest, right? So Moshe Rabbeinu allows us to not only do this because it makes sense, but to feel the truth of Hashem, in the essence of God, in those simple things that we're doing, to feel not just the logic of it, but to feel the Hashem's truth. There was two chassidim, they were discussing one of the Rebbe's Farbrengens. They would give a Farbrengen on Shabbos, and after Shabbos, people would call each other and ask, what did the Rebbe say? So Yankel asked Shmerel, what happened this Shabbos? So Shmerel says, this Shabbos was impossible. The Rebbe was speaking from heaven. No one understood what he was saying. It was beyond everyone's logic. Just Shmerel was upset about this. Like no one understood. So he calls up Beryl. Beryl, what happened to Shabbos? This Shabbos was amazing. What was so amazing? No one understood what the Rebbe was saying. It was from heaven, direct from heaven. So I heard this from Rabbi Yel. Rabbi Yel, he said the point of this parable is that a Jew feels comfortable with that which is higher than logic. A Jew feels comfortable with the truth of Hashem, and the truth of Hashem is in Hashem's essence. That's not something which bothers us, that because we don't know it. On the contrary, that's our home. So when we do a mitzvah, just because it's logical, we're not at home. Moshe Rabbeinu allows us not only to feel the truth of Hashem when we're not dealing with things which make sense to us, but even when doing things which are logical and down to earth, within the mitzvah that you're doing, you're not stealing, you're honoring your father and mother. Logically, within that, you feel the truth of the mitzvah, and the mitzvah is from Hashem's essence. You feel the innate holiness of this mitzvah. This mitzvah draws down the essence of Hashem, not just the logic of it. It's explained what this means in our Aveda, in our generation. Every single Jew as well, there are two parts of you in every single Jew. There is the man-like part of you, and there's the animal-like part of every Jew. While a Jew is involved in learning Torah and davening, at that moment, he is called man-like. And when he's involved the rest of the day in mundane things, although they may be kosher, at that moment, he is in the realm of the animal. And what is a person supposed to do? Just like we said before about Moshe Rabbeinu, that he gives das to those souls which are called animal-like. So too is this our role as well. That even while we're involved in the mundane, we have to also have this feeling of the truth of Hashem, which also to feel Hashem's truth, to feel Hashem's presence, to feel Hashem, even while we're involved in the mundane, even while we're in the animal-like zone of our day, it also has to feel Hashem's truth. And even more, even while, what did we say before? The Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't just contribute to the animal-like souls, he even contributes to the man-like souls. What does that mean on our day-to-day level? That even while we're involved in Torah and we're involved in prayer, so Moshe Rabbeinu gives us not just the experience, the truth of Hashem in general, but not to be satisfied with learning Torah and davening in a way that makes sense, but also to feel this connection of faith with Hashem. That this is it's not just based on logic, not just based on understanding. Even while we're learning and we're davening, it shouldn't just be something which makes sense, that we're now doing something which our neshama is able to do because it makes sense, but to feel in that experience as well our faith in Hashem, the connection of emunah. At that level of faith that we're talking about, a question doesn't make you weaker, and a proof doesn't make you stronger. Moshe Rabbeinu gives us this in our davening, in our Torah, in our man-like part of our day, that we should feel our emunah in such a vivid way that a question doesn't make us weaker, and a proof doesn't make us stronger. And this is given to us through Moshe Rabbeinu. And although the Jewish people told Moshe Rabbeinu that we want you to speak to us, because if God will speak to us, we may die. Which sounds like the Moshe Rabbeinu's words are not as great. It's a descent. It's less than the words of God. Nevertheless, it is specifically through Moshe Rabbeinu who brings this level of das, which is beyond logic, the das, the connection to God's essence, even in the souls which are called man-like. And so too is this in the Moshe of every generation, that every generation has a Moshe Rabbeinu, that by being connected to him, right now being connected to him, by being connected to him before, by being connected to him now, or those which will at least decide from now on to be connected to him. So Moshe Rabbeinu connects their essence, their yechida, the very core of their soul, with his yechida, with the core of his soul, and through this, through this, he Moshe Rabbeinu affects that a Jew cleaves to Hashem beyond logic and reason completely. Zev, you getting this? Zev, you hearing? Okay. So, okay, good. You hear what the Rebbe said? Those who were connected, those who are connected, those who will be connected, Moshe Rabbeinu gives them this, das. Then the Rebbe concludes. Last paragraph. Rebbe concludes with the verse at the end, that as the Torah continues, these are the laws you should place in front of them. When you buy an Evan Ivri, and what does the Torah then say? 6 years he shall work, and the 7th year he's free. What does that mean? That by doing our service of Hashem during the 6 millennia, although this is a limited time, nevertheless, by focusing on the time and space that Hashem gave us the job to do, through this we will reach the time of the coming Mashiach. When it says about Mashiach, coming Mashiach, the world will be full of the knowledge of Hashem, the das of Hashem, the feeling of Hashem's truth. And then the Torah says, everyone will know God, everyone will know me, Hashem says, from those who are small to those who are great. And although he is small, and even after Mashiach comes, he's still going to be considered small, nevertheless, you will still know me, Hashem says, you'll still have das. And it will be in a way that just like water reflects your face, it'll be in a way that just like water covers the ocean bed. That means that the water covers the ocean bed equally. So this light of Hashem will be revealed to all Jews equally. This Maamar that was said in Parshas Mishpatim, Tafshin Aleph, which was a few weeks away from Maamarim, the Maamar that was said about Basi Lagani. Rebbe says we can connect this with the Maamar of the Friedrich Rebbe Basi Lagani about the idea of Tzivas Hashem, the idea of the army of Hashem. The word army has actually 3 translations. The word tzva means a limited time. The word tzva means beauty, and the word tzva means army, beauty, and time. So, although our service of Hashem is in a limited time, it's in the 6 millennia. That tzva means limitation of time. Nevertheless, it's still beautiful. Why is that? There's perfection in the service of Hashem. That a Jew serves Hashem with all of his soul powers, both his inner soul powers, his intellect and his feelings, and his transcendent soul powers. And not just his transcendent soul powers, but even that which is beyond transcendence. We're learning before about the connection of the essence to God's essence, even that which is beyond transcendence. And even more, the highest level is that a Jew should serve Hashem with Kabbalah Seil, with acceptance, the yoke of Hashem. As that's his 3rd translation. If you're hearing the highest thing is Kabbalah Seil. Doesn't get higher than that. Kabbalah Samachos Shemayim, accepting the yoke of Hashem upon you. So that's a 3rd translation of Tzva. So that's the idea of the Eved Ivri. Eved Ivri is meant to be a servant. So by having this Kabbalah Seil, through this we're able to transform the lie of the world and the connection that the world gives us to this lie, meaning because we're living in an environment which is the opposite of truth. So we feel an attachment to the physical. We have this spirit of foolishness, which makes us do things which are crazy, that don't make any sense in our animalistic attachment to the physical. So by transforming this lie and transforming our connection to this world, and instead of making out of this a board for the Mishkan, so the Moshe of our generation, which this is my father-in-law, the Friedrich Rebbe, he will connect their Yechida with his Yechida, and as the verse says, by carrying their burden, you will become one with one. By having Kabbalah Seil, in other words, Kabbalah Seil, accepting the yoke of Hashem, you become one with one. And through this, on the 7th year, you'll go out free. That means revelation of the future of the coming Mashiach, that through Moshe Rabbeinu, who is the first Redeemer, and he is the last Redeemer, and speedily in our days, in our situation, he'll redeem us from this last and bitter gullus, and which there is this double, quadruple darkness. V'yigaleinu and redeem us. Chaim v'chaim. We got our marching orders, my friends. We know Moshe Rabbeinu gives us this connection to whatever we're doing, whether it's mundane, whether it's holy. Gives us this deeper das, this deeper connection to our faith in Hashem in a way that it proves doesn't make us stronger, no questions make us weaker. And this is with the focus on our job with Kabbalah Sil, with the yoke of Hashem. And this brings us to the 7th year, taking a mamish to be with Moshe Rabbeinu, to be with the Rebbe. Chaim. Army, beauty, and time.
But army refers to what the middle of the work that we should carry this out.
With Kabbalah, accepting the yoke of Hashem, Kabbalah Sil, acceptance of the yoke of Hashem.